Alright, I've started recording. Hello. We are going over teams, basically. So just going over your general notes to start with, you just put want to improve understanding of doubles, emphasis on Sheik Falco with focus on positioning and general decision making. I think we can look at that pretty in
Yeah.
depth if we just go over VOD stuff, and just sort of long term is just to level up basically the general idea of this, just to because I think like from watching your singles play, obviously I think like you're obviously really good, you know how to control your character well, and like you just need to figure out doubles a bit if you want to be able to push on
Yeah.
that. I'm not sure how much doubles have you. I'm guessing you have not played a huge amount of doubles and don't generally. It's
Yeah. I've hardly so like I never really got to play doubles when I was good. But I like when I entered doubles a decent amount when I started, but then obviously I got a lot better over quarantine, and there weren't really many doubles tournaments over quarantine, so I've
yeah.
not played a lot.
Aside from like the end of month events, it's like there's not really been.
Yeah, we don't really practice in between at the moment. It's kind of just we'll enter the one at the end of the month and see how we do.
Yeah, and you don't really do much practice like outside of
Yeah, yeah,
tournaments
yeah,
for doubles.
yeah.
Is that something? Are you? Because I know you're teaming with Mordo now. Is this going to be like a long-term team that you're going to try for a bit, or?
I'm not sure how long. I think we're going to try Camp Curran. I guess if we does other team stuff which crops up, we'll try that as well.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like obviously it's one of the easiest things you can do to get better results is
yeah. I
team with
think
the
long
same person
term, I'd
again.
always probably want to team with Falco specifically.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
still it's still useful if you know how to team
yeah,
with like a
yeah,
specific character, because that a lot of it carries over. But we'll sort of try and cover general doubles concepts as well, just to sort of give you a basis, because teaming with other characters is useful as well, and like there's a lot of stuff that is just very general regardless of who you're teaming with.
hmm
Um, so when I watched a few videos. I watched these two. I haven't watched these two yet. The general feeling I got from these were that you sort of have a bit of a tunnel vision. Do you feel like that's accurate? And I think
yeah,
you can't. I think I've watched you play teams like way in the past, and I thought you were not very good at it, and it's not as bad as it used to be. But I still feel like you play it a little bit like singles, and sort of you think once you've got a hit, it's like, okay, I need to continue this,
yeah,
and you also don't want to give up easy hits. Like you don't run into situations that are a bit like, obviously if like a Falco's like facing away from you, you don't want to just run at him in singles because you know he's going to back air or up tilt at you. But in doubles, maybe that situation isn't quite the same depending what your teammate and what the other player is doing. It might be that you do just need to sort of run up to a character and take a bit of a gamble.
yeah. Right now, I'll just try use my single skills and just use them as well as I can in doubles, rather than trying to use double specific stuff.
Yeah, so that feeds into this bit I've got on point three here, where it's just sort of some core concepts. It's sort of like redefining how you win an interaction in doubles compared to singles, because in singles I think it's pretty clear cut like how you get a win, and in doubles I think the it's not as clear cut whether you've won or lost a situation. Whereas in singles it's like, okay, this fox is wave shining me now, this is bad. In
Mm.
doubles, because you've got a teammate that can break things up, and because sometimes all you want to do is just relieve pressure from your teammate. You don't actually want to. You could be losing a situation because you've taken a hit, but that could have freed up space for your teammate to sort of recover or something, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, just going back down it from the top. So setting up some basic rules. So this is for sort of just communicating in teams. There was some basic stuff like moving off the angel platform at the same time. Obviously, you shouldn't do that, and just like deciding who's got priority and those sort of things. When you play doubles, how vocal would you say you are? Like how when you're playing like a tournament set, do you talk a lot? Do you not really talk? Do you say that, or do you just
Yeah,
sort of like do basic call outs?
yeah.
Like
I'm not a big talker. Like when we played the tournament, we were in a voice call, but we just had like pretty basic stuff. Just like when one of us wanted to leave something for the other person instead, like we just say leave it and stuff like that. Like it was not really a lot of communication.
So I'm just going to put some in lesson notes here. So section 2. So the callouts, just off the top of my head, things I think you should have callouts for. So yeah, the first one you said. So I'm just going to put in air quotes, like leave it. So that's for. So that's obviously, you know about that already. Like if you, it's pretty obvious. I think with Falco Sheik whose hit it is, but with some characters it's less obvious.
Yeah.
And sometimes, basically whenever your teammate says leave it, like I'd always just you should just leave it anyway, because you should trust that they've got an idea, and you shouldn't ever override what they're doing. Which I'm assuming you don't, but it's just like a general thing. Like some people, if you want to get better, you just have to sort of assume. Whenever your teammate says, "Oh, I'm doing this," you've got to just let them do it.
Yeah.
You can't be like, "Oh no, I'm gonna grab the ledge instead of you because I think I should be better on the ledge." It's like you don't have time to
yeah, I don't do that stuff on purpose, but like sometimes I'll autopilot.
Yeah.
Just accidentally do something stupid.
Yeah, it's just sort of like, for me, it's like I train the muscle memory by just like playing a lot of doubles and listening to people. So when someone says like leave it, I'll just hold down and wait to see what they do. Like you get better at reacting to it the more you make calls out, because it's something that you're not used to reacting to. Like you're used to reacting to visual cues and audio cues from the game, but reacting to an audio cue from another player is difficult. It's like if you tried to cover, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like an example, but if you're trying to cover like Spacey Side B and you've never heard it in your life, and then the sound isn't going to help you until you've heard it loads of times, and you're like, okay, now I know the timing. So similar sort of thing. Other call outs, so I just want to name this little section. So basic, doubles, call outs. So calling whose ledge it is. So this is like a basic, I don't think I saw you guys mess this up much in the 2 games I watched, but just a general thing is like making sure, obviously a general rule, Sheik is the one that wants to be on the edge because her on-stage punish isn't as good versus many characters. But there'll still be times when like, oh, the Falco is significantly closer and Falco is pretty good from the edge as well. So just like knowing, just like having that as like a thing that you always call out, just as like a trust thing, because like then even if it's really obvious that you're going to be the one going for ledge, you want to remove the doubt from your teammate's mind, and then they can just focus on, okay, I know I can stop thinking about that and start thinking about, okay, how am I going to punish whatever's coming up?
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff you call out is just it will be really obvious, but it is just to sort of like remove doubt from your teammate, which is helpful. Like that's the whole reason you call out for leave it and calling out whose ledge it is.
Yeah.
And another thing that I would say that you need to there's a general thing to call out is like knowing what to do off grabs. So we'll put from grabs, state what throw you're doing, because so I know Sheik specifically has pretty quick throws to react to. Like the pretty opposite thing around. Pretty slow throws, so like a good Falco will react to your down throw or your forward throw. But just saying it as you're doing it, like again, makes it easier for them to be like, okay, the Sheik's gonna forward throw, which is the general throw you want to be doing. But like it just helps them out knowing that you're gonna. The main thing I would say for this is if you're Sheik against the character and you've got like a chain grab could open up. And say you're against a Sheik Fox team, you've started up a Sheik on Sheik chain grab, and you say you're going to go for a chain grab, and then the Falco just focuses on, they know, okay, all I've got to do is just knock this Fox away, and they can sort of like simplify their game plan to like accommodate the punish that you're going for, because you could just go for like, ideally you just go for like a quick trade aerials to build up percent quickly, but if you're trying to, that might get interrupted by the other player.
Yeah.
So depends what you're like. The thing with doubles is it's very variable. So like, there's some characters where you would obviously go for this. Like if you're against a Jigglypuff Sheik for some reason, and you had a chain grab on the Sheik, obviously the Falco is still going to be aware of the jigs, and that's a character you could just knock away over and over and over, especially if they are desperate to try and get in. Like the chain grab would create. It's like if your teammate's getting wobbled, you stop thinking about, okay, I need to win neutral and I need to beat this guy that's walling me out, and then I need to interrupt. People will just go, oh shit, I need to run over there and stop this guy from getting wobbled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the same thing. So just put note, this is to set up chain grabs / team combos. And just like if you're going to do like a weird throw, it can help out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does this make sense? This all okay so far?
Yeah.
Other general stuff to call out as Sheik and maybe as other characters. This is kind of a weird one because in person you might not want to say it, but if you're online you can obviously say it. Just say where you're recovering.
Yeah.
Recovery,
okay, yeah, that as well.
Angle / placement. So, say you want to go high for a recovery, your teammate can. Sheik's recovery is infinitely better in doubles for very obvious reasons, which I'm sure you're aware of. But having the option, if your teammate knows when you want to go for ledge, when you want to go on stage, or when you want to go high, they can cover that obviously. And if they know you're going to go on stage as Falco, they can obviously put out a laser so that your recovery is just insanely broken because they can just put a laser out to where you're going to land.
Mm-hmm.
And get you out of hit stun, and then you can actually play instead of being sat there for 2 seconds. So facilitates high recoveries. Lets Falco teammate hit you with lasers. What's the other thing? Important for ledge grabbing. And then the last thing is is being vocal about when you need help. Because I think that's the thing a lot of people do. They kind of focus in on, I can win this singles interaction. And then maybe sometimes they win it, maybe sometimes they don't. They get pushed to the corner, or they're going to get shown spikes by a fox. And if you'd said just like a bit earlier, like, oh, I need some help, then your teammate can kind of try and drop what they're doing. Because whatever combo, depending on what's happening to you, whatever combo they're getting might not be as big as what's happening to you, right? Like if you're getting shine spiked and Falco does, even if they do 80% to the other spacey, it's not as good. Like they have unless they are literally going to get a kill guaranteed. I think it's generally worth interrupting in some way, especially. This is another thing, especially with Falco, he is like the easiest character in the game to interrupt with. Like you just chuck one laser over there and that can change the whole interaction. Like if a fox is shining a shield and they get hit by a laser, suddenly they're stuck in shine. You grab them and the whole situation turns around off like a Falco laser, which is a ridiculously quick option in teams.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, that was happening a lot. Like I just felt like I didn't know when to like help my teammate, and I don't think he knew when to help me.
Yeah, is that like, do you feel like you're going over when you didn't need to help, or is it more like, oh, I should have been over there and done something?
Yeah, it's I should have been over. Like I'll like focus in when I'm like doing well in like a singles interaction. I'll like completely just tunnel vision on that and forget.
Well, that's. Sorry, you go.
No, I don't really have much more to say on that.
Okay, yeah, you just tunnel vision. I would say that's honestly like at high level melee in doubles, it is very you have to if you're comboing a spacey or something, you need to watch their techs and you need to have like full focus in on that. Expecting you to be able to punish like a top level spacey as well as watch another interaction at the same time is not realistic. Like you're a really good singles player, but like you drop those things in singles, right? When that is the only thing that you're watching.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you expect to be able to do that and also watch your teammate and know and then think about whether that teammate also needs help? Like that is unrealistic. So all you do,
it's hard.
Yeah, it's just like I wouldn't ever beat yourself up for like not helping your teammate. They need to tell you like, I don't think I'm winning this interaction. obviously in less words than this, but like, I don't think I'm winning this interaction. Sort this out. Like, come over here. Let's change what's going on. Even if you're winning your interaction, you just need, unless you think you're gonna get a kill for sure, like you can just run over there. And again with Sheik, like it's not as good as Falco, but you can just chuck a needle over. Like, say you down throw forward air a floaty, and you're not gonna get, you can't edge guard them. Like you should just at very least chuck a needle over to your teammate and sort of see if it helps.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we'll put that as asking for help / making sure teammate asks for help. Actually, we can get rid of that. Help when needed. Important for avoiding getting gimped / helping teammates with problem situations. It's impossible to watch 2 sets of interactions at once in detail. You should try to have like a general idea of what's going on with your teammate. Like if they've got a combo started up and you know they're just comboing, that can let you switch off a bit because you know, okay, I can either just focus on my 1v1 or I need to be ready to pick up from that combo, you know? Like, I'm assuming you've got a pretty good idea of how most characters combo and when they need to finish a combo. At least like the top tiers, like you know how a Falco's going to finish a Shine Dare sequence. You know when their last hits, when they're not going to be able to follow it up anymore, and that's going to vary character to character. So like, if a Falco's playing versus a Fox, you don't need to watch for team combos as much as when you're playing a Falco versus a Peach, because Falco versus Peach, they can't do long extended combos, so you need to be there to forward air them back into the combo once the Falco back airs towards you, or if they down air the Peach towards the ground and they've got 3 tech options, then you need to cover one of them so that Falco can cover the other 2.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think these are 5 good basic things to start talking about in teams. You don't need to talk in detail, but just like say what you're doing. Like I think it will help a lot if this isn't something you currently do. I think some people don't speak much in teams because they don't want to be a distraction, and they're not sure what's useful. Do you play like many other games that aren't Melee? Like,
yeah, I'll play like lots of like I played Counter-Strike for like a long time, so that's like a very vocal game and callouts and stuff. Like information's really useful.
And in those games, like there's a big difference. A lot of people will say information that is not useful, right?
Yeah.
Like they'll just be like, "Oh, there's a guy shooting at me," and they'll say like, "It's like you didn't need to say that many words. Like you just say, this person's mid," or I don't know Counter-Strike very well, but like you say like, "Oh, 1." You say the number of people and where they are. You don't say, "I'm dying." You don't scream, "I'm dying, I'm dying." You try and make it as snappy as possible.
Yeah.
And I'd say try and do the same for Melee. Like when you're in the game, you need to just have quick things that like instantly make a response in your brain.
Okay. Yeah.
You can have like various things to say from that. Like I think Maskless and Fade had like some meme ones that they said. They'd say like, "Oh, if they were going for a specific combo, they called it something ridiculous." Which is, I don't know, a bit it's funny, but I'm not sure how practical it is. But yeah, so just like having basic things that you say and that you both understand straight away what you mean by that is useful. Like if you say, "Oh, high recovery," like they need to know how high you're going for. Or if you say like I don't know, off a grab, like you could almost tell them, you could also tell them the opposite way here. You could tell them what move to do. So like if you know your forward throw is going to send them, the opponent that you're forward throwing, to a specific place because you know your character better than your teammate, right? You know, if you were forward throwing a Spacey, a Sheik, you kind of know where they're going to end up. So if your teammate's in the right place, you just tell them like, "Oh, up tilt when I throw." stuff like that.
Got it.
Is that okay? Is this all
Yeah.
making sense?
This is
Sorry that
fine.
I'm kind of just info dumping. If there's anything you want to say, just like feel free to interrupt
No,
me.
it's fine. Even if I don't take it all in now, like I guess like I can watch it back, and I'm sure that I can look at the Google Doc again. to,
Yeah,
like,
that's why I
read
want to.
that.
So I've got like, so this is just one that I did for some other students. Like I kind of did, so their pre-lesson notes, responded to them,
Yeah.
and we set up like a whole bunch of huge amount of stuff here and action points. So my action point here is going to be. Sorry, this is basically going to be homework as well, but do it if you want to. So action point: discuss with Mordo these callouts. Come up with basic rules, e.g., who goes first from Angel platform. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, it's just if you both die at the same time, you don't want to both come down at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be one of... Normally, I'd have a rule about which one goes first. So, like, when I play Peach Sheik, we put Peach down first because Peach is slower. And that's most of how I make decisions of who goes first. But... Because, like, they have a worse chance of catching someone. So, if they... And when you're both invincible, that's when they're going to be at the most evasive. So yeah, just deciding who goes first off that sort of thing. And then the other thing, have standard throw combos versus spacies / common. I'll just put common characters, I don't need to see spaces.
Yeah. I actually thought the Angel I thought you were supposed to move off the Angel platform at the same time.
Oh, no way. Because, like, instead of 3 seconds of invincibility, you get 6, right? Like,
yeah, it makes a lot of sense when you put it like that.
You have one guy come down and they're invincible, and then the other person comes down and the opponent, and then that if the teammate that came down first won their interaction, then you just join in, you just combo. But if they lost, like they say they went for just like an all-in grab as Sheik, then the other invincible teammate then comes down and the opponent can't start comboing because there's an invincible Falco there now. Like they can't do anything.
Yeah, right.
So it just gives you having like I think invincibility in melee is already ridiculous. Like I think it's 3 seconds.
Yeah,
which feels like forever. But like having doubling that is just insane. So yeah, definitely you don't want to come down at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are just like some action points, just like basic things that you can talk about. Like you don't need to sit down and lab these out. Like these are just you can just message over Discord or whatever and probably figure out some pretty basic stuff. Other stuff. So how in a match, how do you decide who's taking the lead? And so we'll start with that. Like, how do you decide who's taking the lead? Like, what's your general thoughts on that?
I mean, I think a lot of it's just to do with character. Like, I assume with Falco, it should mainly be Falco taking the lead. I don't think she really takes it much. And I guess that there are certain situations where I'll like think to myself where I should be like leading here. It's like, for example, when I'm just the one in front, like I'm not sure how I would have got there, but
yeah, like if you're the one in front, you don't want to, and you've taken a bunch of stage, you don't want to just roll back and like the only way the Falco's going to get in front of you is you have to go behind them.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
You've given up some stage for nothing. So yeah, there will be situations when you need to just.
Yeah, so I guess it'll just mainly be my positioning on the stage, which decides whether I take the lead or not.
Yeah. I think this is a thing that can vary a lot in games. So, but what was the thing I was trying to get at? With Falco Sheik, the kind of way so this again is sort of is redefining like how hard characters can get punished. And while Sheik isn't as good at going in, I think she's also not as good at breaking things up as Falco is. Falco is a ridiculous character in teams, and I think a few years ago people didn't really realise how good Falco is in teams, and I think that people kind of understand now that he's a really good character for teams. So just like, depending what characters you're against, I think if you're against... double spacies, I think Falco does need to go in. But I think with many other teams, it can sort of depend on a lot of things, because the problem with Falco going is that they if they go in and they lose their interaction, they're probably going to take a lot more damage than you would as Sheik, like of things that can happen quickly in teams. Peach down smash could hit them for 50. They could get up throw arrested by a Jigs. That happens a lot more often in teams, I think, just because people don't think about DI as much as well in teams. So it's sort of like a risk reward thing. Yes, Falco is probably better in front and is more likely to win interactions, but sometimes all you want to do is just push forward and take some stage. And if you're trying to play lower risk, and you do need to have a bit of percent on your opponents, obviously, because Sheik versus most characters at 0 is pretty bad.
Mm.
But once you've got past that, it can be worth just putting Sheik on front, because just because the risk is so much lower. Like, there's only so hard you can get punished compared to Falco. Like, you don't get gimped as badly. Most characters don't combo Sheik as badly, and even if you do get opened up on, you've got Falco with lasers to just mess up the interaction.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that, I'm not saying what you're doing putting Falco on front is wrong. I just kind of want you to sort of think about...
she can do it as well.
Yeah, just like, don't... It sounds like you already don't have it. It's a hard rule. I think some people play teams like, oh no, I'm on front and I've got a Fox, like I should be behind. And it's like, well, Fox is also like the best character in the game or one of the best characters in the game as a support character. Like, most of the characters that are really good at teams are also really good at playing from the back. Like, the only team's characters I can think that aren't good at playing, like Peach isn't very good as a support. Like, compared to if in like Peach Sheik, like you would almost always have the Peach on the front, because that makes sense. But in Peach Fox, like you could have either character on front, I think.
Okay.
I think Falco is probably like top 3 support characters in the game, just because of lasers and how good his hitboxes are.
Right.
And sorry, where was I going with that? Yeah, and just like, because you can just minimize risk to the Falco by having him at the back. Like, I was talking to Hooray for Jay and Ico about like stuff they could do in teams. I was just saying, like, just try Ganon on the front, because against most non-spacey characters, Ganon can sort of push into people, but the problem is that he gets punished, right?
Yeah.
But if you can't punish the Ganon because there's a Falco behind him, Ganon, like, the risk reward becomes huge. Like, that they don't want to push into a Ganon because of his hitboxes, and even if he whiffs, like, it's not that bad, sort of thing. So just like trying it out is useful.
Okay.
All right, other stuff. I think this core concept stuff, these are just things I wanted to like raise just as like little ideas before we do some VOD review. So just sort of like general overlapping and knowing what options you should cover. So that's like having like a general idea of when your teammate's going to come over the top of you or do an attack through you, and just like, for example, there will be, say you're teaming with a Marth as a spacey, you sort of, there'll be situations where you would just be like, my Marth teammate's got to F smash here because that's the best option. So I'm just going to sit and shield. I'm not going to try and avoid it. I'm not going to try and do anything silly, because all I need to do is just let them do their hitbox, and I'm just going to sort of sit and shield as like a general. That's just like one example, but there's many situations where you just let your teammate do what they need to do, and you sort of identify, okay, they're running in here. I don't also need to run in at the same time, because that's never going to work out.
Okay. Yeah.
Just like, using like run up shield as like an offensive option, because your teammate can then like hit that shield, and you know about like the hitbox extension in doubles?
No, can't say I do.
So when you hit a shield, like the hitbox gets bigger, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
or
really?
like it goes through the shield, basically.
Yeah.
So using that to like have offensive options where you'll have, say you've got the Sheik up front, you run up shield, and then the Falco just jumps in and down airs like kind of on your shield, because that down air will then go through, or a back air is a more common option. So just stuff like that, and knowing what options you should cover. What I mean by that is on knockdowns and stuff like that. Just knowing, okay, my teammate's got the knockdown. I know how Falco covers the situation. I just need all you need to do is just cover one tech option most of the time.
Yeah.
And just
that's something I think about.
That was just something that I noticed you guys. I think you guys missed it once or twice in the VOD I watched, and it was just like, okay, if you decided like, oh, I'm gonna cover tech away here, and just like make it really. Sometimes I just make it really obvious that that's the one I'm covering. Like I'll just stand at tech away distance and just hold down because I'm just gonna down smash if they come towards me. And then that again just makes it easier for your teammate because you've taken things away from them. Like it's like if you're playing against a spacey that never does no tech, right? Like tech chasing that is very easy compared to if they're doing no tech sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's just like if sometimes all you're doing by standing there is just making it because you're making obvious that that's what you're covering, so they won't tech towards you, and then your teammate only needs to cover 3 options instead of 4, and that's a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So just like stuff like that. But there's like a whole many situations other than techs where that would come up. Have you got any questions before we do some review?
Questions? No, I don't think I have any initial questions, but I'll probably have some as like the games go on.
Yeah, that's okay. I think we'll watch the Battlefield one from this, and then like I said, I haven't watched either of these, so I'm happy to. We'll we'll hopefully get through one of these as well. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, I'll just we'll just go along with it, and I'll check that works properly. I'll just stop it as interesting things happen that I want to talk about, but if there's something that you want to specifically ask about, like, oh, what should I have done here?
Okay.
Why is this not expanding out as I expand the window? I guess we'll just leave it as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's specific things you want to ask about, just like stop me and we'll go back over it.
Sure.
I need to... This is probably going to be really loud.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about fine. So this straight away is a situation where, so you can see what's happening to Archie here. Like he's getting shined at the edge, and you've gone up here to deal with the Falco.
Yeah.
And I would say like, you just need to ignore this, like, and just make sure your teammate doesn't get shine spiked. I know it kind of works out, but that's just sort of like a general rule. Yeah, Modo coming in there a bit late, that's mostly fine. I think it was like here I wasn't really sure what you were doing, like over on the left hand side of the stage.
Yeah, it was like I was trying to like continuing pressuring the Falco, but it was just me tunnel visioning.
Yeah, but the Falco, I think the Falco's like doing exactly what I said, where he's like, okay, I'm kind of in a weird situation against the Sheik, so I'm just not gonna even bother playing it.
Yeah, and he just
and then they've got like this situation's. They should be able. They will get an opening on Falco here if they want it, and you're kind of just out here doing nothing. So just sort of like reacting to the fact that people will just give you the whole stage for free sometimes because they want to go interrupt.
Yeah.
Like because Mordo got on a bit of an edge guard started here, so Hunpei's literally just going like, okay, I need to go do something about this. Like he doesn't care what you're gonna do at all.
Yeah.
What happens here? Why is...
Yeah, I think here, like, I saw Archie was trying to do, like, but I wasn't really sure how I was supposed to contribute to the situation.
Yeah, I did spot this when I was, like, watching through it. It's like, if he gets an opening up here, there's not a lot you can really do with it, is the thing. Yeah. So, like, I would kind of say, like, he needs to be aware of, like, he puts himself in an awful spot here, basically, because the Falco this Falco can probably trade. Like, if he needs to, he can just trade because he's got the percent. But also, more importantly, the Fox can just. This is a bad position for, like, the Fox can just shark here, right?
Yeah.
So I think what you need to do is either you need to really suppress this fox and just not let them shark. You need to kind of shut down this space basically so that they can't just.
Okay.
It's like if you. I'm not super sure if it would work, but if you were sort of here, and the Falco does that, you can just forward air them. I'm not sure if the fox could punish. Like that's obviously up for debate.
Yeah, it's better than my treasure.
Yeah, happens. Well, it's a good job of not getting hit.
Yeah, like in a spot like that, I feel like I should have tried to 2v1 the Falco more than I did. I kind of just went to go to the fox.
What was this here? Sorry, you're saying you should have gone for the Falco.
Yeah, at least I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was thinking that. It's like you, because he's at edge. Like you can't. I don't think you can offer too much. You can't really force anything here. I think that was right. If you'd hit his shield here, that would have been a decent interaction. Like you.
Yeah.
Good there, just breaks it up. Again there, I think you should just be trying to break up what's happening here. So that's a good break up there. I think instead of thinking about this fox, you should try and stop this from happening. You should just jump up with a bear.
Yeah, like stuff like that happens a lot where like I'll hit a fox off stage and then instead of like being assured that I know where the fox is gonna go, I'll have to watch them like go off stage so I can confirm it. But I feel like then it's a good idea, like when someone's in hit stun, that's like a good opportunity for me to look at like the other character, but I just don't really default to doing that right now.
Yeah,
so,
it's like you don't need to think about the fox straight away. Like you have the hits. You know the hit stun's are there, and then you glance at the other situation and go, okay, can I do it? And this is all like really quick. You don't think out you don't have this whole thought process, but you sort of flick through it. It's like, okay, glance at the other situation. What's happening? Do I need to interrupt? Yes or no? If yes, go and interrupt or team combo. If no, go and finish your edge guard. Sort of like a mental flow chart of just like checklist.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there's not too much you can do to the fox.
Yeah, it's hard because I just think in singles, like you just build up a big reliance on visual cues to like for like tech skill and or just combos and stuff, right?
Yeah. And there's just less to react to as well. Like if you knock the fox off stage, all you have to think of is where is that fox going? Like you're not responsible for a teammate, and you don't. There's no potentially better option other than edgeguarding the fox. Like if you edgeguard the fox, that's good. If you don't edgeguard the fox, that's bad. It's very very binary. Whereas in doubles, there's like, okay, I could get the edgeguard on the fox, but the fox has way more recovery options because it's teams. I've got a teammate that might be getting comboed. Maybe I could get more damage if I combo the other guy. There's just so many variables, and there's often not a correct option. There's not like this is always the best thing to do. Yeah, it's difficult, and it's if your autopilot is not to identify this situation up here and take a view on it. Like you need to start building that in first, and then you move into the okay, what's the best decision I can make. But it is hard. Yeah, that was really good. Like, you just had to make space for Mordo to recover when you get a kill off it. That was really good. Good needle. Like, you just interrupt the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in these games. I was like disappointed you didn't win either of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are just certain situations where like I'll know what to do and I feel comfortable, and then there are just lots of situations where I don't know what to do.
Yeah, this whole thing here is really good, by the way, because you're just doing so much damage to them by just camping, basically.
I feel like when I play like Turtle and like when I'm the one playing passive, I find it like super easy. It's like it all comes quite naturally to me when like just I have like a really like consistent like rush down of the teammate who like is just giving me like stray hits and stuff to convert off and like little windows to like put needles in. That's like when
you did a really good set of stocks here. Like you took their stocks and you also built up quite a lot of damage. This is like a general teams thing. This isn't for you. I think Mordo is trying too hard to get a hit here.
Yeah, that is something we did talk about actually after the set.
He is always so. This is something I wanted to say on here. So I wanted to redefining how to win an interaction in doubles compared to singles. So the odds of him winning this situation. What would winning this situation look like? What do you think winning the situation would look like?
I assume it will. I mean, it will just be getting a shrine of some sort. I think that's the best he can hope out of this because it's something which is quite easy to combo off of. It can maybe hit 2 people instead of 1, and it's also something I can probably easily convert off of 2.
Yeah, I would even aim lower than that. I would literally aim as my win on this situation would be, don't get hit. Like literally like sit in light shield or whatever and you make it back to stage. I would consider in this situation, this is horrendous. Like this is like the worst situation to be in Sheik and teams.
Yeah, like a scary spot. Yeah.
Your teammate's getting comboed and you are at a percent where you take a hit and then you have to recover for 5+ seconds. Sometimes it's even longer, right? Like by the time you finish flying away, do your double jump, do your slow recovery, ledge dash on, and then you could just get knocked away again, and your teammate's taking another 50%. I think he's just trying. I get why he wants to win this situation because it's nice to win situations, but I think either just jump away, like jump up here and force them to chase, or sit in shield.
Yeah, we did have a little chat about that, like how like I think I was doing it as well, where there were spots where I wasn't really content with just nothing happening. I always wanted to try and make a play, or make something happen, even if it meant sacrificing positioning and stuff like that.
I think people feel the pressure to do something more in doubles than they do in singles, because in singles I think most people would wait for an obvious opening, or they dash dance, they look for their opening, or they sit on platform and shield and look for a shield drop hit, or they try to see what the opponent's doing. Okay, that Marth's always dash dancing at this range. I'm gonna boost grab at the back of it to try and overshoot or something like that. If this situation was in singles, I don't think Archie would try and contest a Fox up tilting with a back air out of shield, because that doesn't win, right? Like that's not something that works.
Yeah, I think one thing we both agreed on is that we were both kind of using a lot of low execution options, just because neither of us really felt like we could execute properly in any of these games. Okay. And I don't even think that was due to lack of warm up. I think it's just due to like a lot of it for me was due to the camera. Just because I think, as I mentioned before, I have like a pretty big reliance on visual cues to perform my execution patterns. So stuff like this just makes it really uncomfortable for me to do what I want to do. I
would say the camera doubles is something you can get used to. And this is something I actually really abuse it versus people who don't play teams as much. Like when it zooms like all the way out, that's when I'll play the most aggressive, because they're not people when the camera zoomed all the way out. I think people just kind of shield. That's pretty. They kind of
that's
shield.
Actually evil.
They kind of shield, or just like they don't want to take the interaction because they can't quite see what's happening. Whereas I'm just like, okay, so the camera's out, I can just fucking run up and down smash and maybe it'll work, or I can just run up grab. So just like. Getting into first of all, you just got to get like more comfortable with it, and just like that's going to come from playing more doubles and just being like, okay, this is what the screen is different and it's odd, but you'll get used to it.
I was thinking like practicing on like a zoomed out camera it could be worth it, but I'm not even sure. Either that or just practicing doubles more.
Yeah, I think just practicing doubles, because it's not the fact that it's zoomed out that's weird. It's like sometimes it's in close and it goes out further than normal. And it's like in singles it doesn't ever go out as far. And you kind of know when it's going to go far out, whereas in doubles it can kind of go far out very suddenly, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
But you get edge. This is still working out pretty well. Again, this is like, you do lose that Falcon, you go get the Fox. I don't know why he died. Why not go get it? Again, this is just Mordo's kind of zoomed in on his thing, and maybe you've also defended in the wrong way. I'm not quite sure. So why do you do a move here? What are you trying to hit? What's happening?
I think it was the Falco. But I thought Archie was gonna try like a shot. I wanted to do it off the shine maybe. Okay. Like if they shine to the right, I think.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I would say even if that did happen, this fox still would have been able to combo you exactly the same.
Yeah, it's true. This is the habit I have in singles as well, where like I'll kind of throw out a low commitment move like a back air, like not because I even have a very good reason to. It's because it feels like it's not something that I'll get punished for.
Yeah, it's just like footsies, right? It's like you're just letting them know.
Yeah.
Here I am, sort of thing.
I mean, singles, I guess that is the case, but in doubles, well, obviously, like this is a very surprise opening for me. Like I was not conscious that the fox could hit me when I threw the back arrow out.
Yeah, I think that's maybe because you've tunnel visioned in a bit. I think you both tunnel vision here. You're both like, okay, we need to kill this Falco. Because if you kill this Falco, like this game is way in your favor. Like you're so far ahead at this point.
Yeah.
The Falco does really. Maybe you being here does force the Falco to do this DI. But I think because of the way Falco combos, I think he'd go over here anyway. Yeah. I would say like this is kind of knowing how your teammate combos, right? You don't actually need to follow up on this.
Yeah.
Because if the Falco shines and he goes up to here, Mordo can do whatever. Like that's a good situation for if the Falco DIs to here, he can do a lot of things. And then if he DIs over here, you can't really do much. So I would say either this is a reasonable idea, because if you get the back air and he runs over, he can just down air and that's a kill.
Yeah.
But this, and against worse players this would work, but against someone that's experienced as Hunpei, I don't think he'll let himself get hit by this. And you and at the core of it, you need to be aware of this fox coming in.
Yeah.
Because he gets a good opening on you. Again, this is I just think Mordo's overextending.
Yeah,
he's doing pressure on 2 shields.
We are pretty like desynced and like our positioning at this point.
Yeah, I think he needs to do like a little bit of pressure and just give you time to come back.
Okay.
So, because
I'm also going to show this to him probably. So
I'm just like talk about things. This is like general. This is something you need to be aware of as well, because like you need to...
like he needs to not extend as far, and I need to like not go as far back as I did. Like I probably didn't have to go to. I mean,
when you recovered, you mean? Like I think this recovery took you kind of drift way back, and you don't need to because your teammate's covering. Like so so there's 2 options. Alternatively, you get to ledge way quicker, and then you could have supported Mordo in this interaction.
Yeah.
And just so he could have done that down air and then shielded, and then you could have F tilted, and the F tilt would have hit them both, or would have tapped both their shields at least because of the extension, right? As one example of something you could have done. You could have chucked some needles in to make sure the fox couldn't do anything. You could have run up grabbed if you thought that the shield pressure was going to be good. But you do the slide back, and then you're way behind here, and then Mordo doesn't change what he's doing either. Does a dare on 2 shields at once, which I'm not sure if that could be safe. Like, I'm not sure if it's similar to Ice Climbers, where you can kind of do it if you do, like, a really low one.
I think it's kind of, I mean, it's a situation where, like, I understand why he went for it, because I think it's, like, not an assured win or loss. It's, like, just, kind of a scrap.
Yeah, he wants to give you space to come back on.
Yeah. I feel like doubles has lots of situations where, like, a lot of things will come down to, like, actual, like, 50-50s and stuff. And that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Like, him going in for a down, I could go either way. Like, I guess in a spot where we've got ourselves like a stock lead, so it's probably not even on us to make that space right now.
He could just do like a safer dare and end up here, and then you'd be neutral and you'd have the stage. Like that would be a win in my eyes if he just gets one. He got a hit on the fox. He could just do one dare and then get out. Yeah, you don't really cover much with that. That's fine though. to
That
pick
was-
up.
Yeah, that was insane.
Something I want to say is maybe the Amsterdam isn't the best option here either.
Yeah. In singles, I probably wouldn't have gone for it because I think it's really easy to cover. But I actually just thought in the chaos of doubles that
He might let you get away with it.
yeah, he would have been ready for it. But
Yeah, he's ready for it anyway. But it's also in doubles, like going off stage isn't as bad.
Yeah, it's true.
Because your teammate can make space for you to recover anyway. So
yeah,
I don't know, hard to say, but just like worth thinking about. I think he gets shined here.
Yeah, it's an unlucky shine.
Yeah, we'll watch this. It's not really long left. I was gonna say we could just skip some more doubles, but
yeah, I mean, I think this is a 2v1 situation, which is pretty winnable.
Yeah, like you kill them both, and then you just need to get one huge combo. Especially if you kill the Falco first and he takes the stock, because Falco's obviously easier to combo. But
yeah, like I should have had that kill, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're trying to be too fancy there. I don't know why you're up there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty that you could do. Yeah, hopefully there's some useful ideas from that.
Yeah, definitely.
Specifically, so I haven't made any notes on it there, but you could put some on afterwards. Out of these two here, is there one that sorry, like I said, I haven't watched these. Is there one of these you would prefer to watch?
Let's watch the stadium one because I think like the first game was a lot of us getting used to like the team, and I think this was us when we were. Well, I think we played well, and it could have gone either way.
Yeah. Okay. This, by the way, is a team where I would maybe consider putting Sheik on front, just because of how well Marth can wall out Falco.
Yeah.
Just like
that makes sense.
Just probably like mix between the two and see if you're winning interactions. Like I'm not sure how you do against Abev, but I would say you're more likely to win the interactions than Mordo is if it was both singles.
Yeah, in singles, I think I have a pretty good time with Marth in general.
Yeah, so yeah, just worth considering. Like especially if they're playing with Marth on front. If they're playing with Falco on front, then it's completely different. But just see what they're doing and then change what you're doing accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah, more he just gets opened up here. This is just there's no. I just don't think there's much reason for him to force his way in like this. Because the fact, even if he gets something started here, the Falco can interrupt it, and I think you need to be closer to support here. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, I think the reason I choose going in is because the only thing, obviously we both don't know a lot about doubles, so I think his only really idea of what he has to do is like he has to be the person who makes like the openings,
Makes
right?
the plays, makes the openings.
But, but I don't think either of us know like what that really consists of yet, which is why I guess part of it was just him like just going in like kind of doing blind.
Yeah,
aggression.
he's just trying to get an opening, which is reasonable. But I think you can make it easier for him by sitting sort of here. Like, if the Falco dares at you from here, you can punish that.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to make it so that the Marth can't punish super hard. Tough situation, man.
Yeah.
That's good, I like that. I think maybe he'll get this anyway. But I'm just my instant thought here is that down air's hit. Forget about it. Like this Marth is either gonna die, or he's gonna spend a long time recovering.
Yeah, I do actually have like a pretty faint memory. I don't think I comboed the Falco as hard as I could have because I was half trying to see if the situation on the right needed me or not. But yeah. I guess I assume there are like pretty like big like swing options, for example, like a spike or something, which can just tell me, oh yeah, I don't need to worry about that.
I would more say like you don't need to watch it, and so this is coming back to this, right? Like, ideally, you shouldn't even need to watch it. You should just you know that Falco's hitting the Marth because you can hear it, kind of, and you I think even without directly watching it, you know who's winning over here. Like if the Falco's comboing the Marth, you can hear that. You know that's happening, yeah. And if the Marth's comboing the Falco, you hear a different set of sounds. So you don't have to explicitly watch it. And then if it starts going wrong, your teammate tells you help, and when it goes, and it's pretty, because Marth, unless he does up throw down air, he's not going to instantly kill Falco.
Yeah.
But and then on a counterpoint, Mordo doesn't ever have to DI over here, because if he DIs over here, you're more likely to help him. So I think, yeah, you could have either. Yeah, he should come over and help you with this combo. Way earlier.
Maybe.
And I think he gets in between the two and decides eventually like that he's going to go over there. Because when you get this hit onto the platform, so you can't follow up on that. I feel like he should have been here to cover tech to the right with a back air.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's partly you don't need to be watching the situation. And again here, was this Falco? Could this Falco have ever made it back?
I'd have to look. I think.
Well, let's look as soon as this lets us. So he's at pretty high percent.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Okay.
You know that at that point, you know that Falco's dead.
Yeah, I think the reason I won is because I wasn't really fully sure. I think if they DI'd the back air properly, then they could have lived. But I guess I could have been able to see that after a while.
Yeah. So again, that's just sort of like a maybe you could have come over here and done something. But you get this kill anyway. So. Oh no. Oh, no.
Yeah, that was quite unlucky. So I think the reason this happened, so I actually didn't realize Archie was at a height where he could side B to the ledge. I thought an up B was coming, so I wanted to try like get maybe an up air or something.
Something I would say is, at the percent you're at, that save is not worth it. So
yeah, I need to prioritize
I want you to watch
myself.
this. I want you to watch this Toad video. I'm not sure. Have you watched this before?
No.
It's like a 40-minute video where just Toph and Pew Pew go over like some doubles. It's like it's a bit clickbaity. It's top 5 doubles mistakes, and he just like talks about like obvious things.
Do I need to watch the whole video, or like specifically the timestamp you sent me?
I would watch the whole. I would listen to the whole video whilst you maybe if you don't want to sit there and watch 40 minutes. I normally like watch these sort of videos whilst I'm doing work. Like you don't need to. He's not showing you anything. They're just talking. So if you want to just listen to it whilst you do something else, like go for it. Obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
If a 40-minute video is too painful for you.
Yeah.
Right. So what happens here? So you could throw. No, you can't throw needles there. So several things happen here. You try to like win the situation, and all you need to you're trying to like get a hit on Abev, yeah.
Yeah.
All you need to do is make it so that Archie can recover. You don't need to beat them off. You just need to stall them out or slow him down. So I think just maybe be a bit more defensive with your options, or I think you just do like a hard jump at him, and it's a bit too risky for my liking. When you could just sort of like hold the space.
Yeah. It all came down to just me not realizing when Archie could recover or not.
Yeah, and then you don't need to go out. I think even if you could save him, it's probably not worth it because he's at kill percent and you're at 50. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like you just have to accept he's gone. Even though team saves always feel really good and cool. Again, this is the same thing. I know it's not exactly the same, but
yeah, I was definitely trying to go for like a needle or something like. I think.
Yeah, you're not super aware. He should be saying as he's recovering. This is another call out. He should be letting you know that he can make it back.
Yeah.
So what I normally say is like, oh, just get me ledge. I just say get me ledge to my teammate. Just like all you need to do is get me ledge because I'm gonna make it. Because he knows his character. I don't know if Falco's gonna make this from here. To be honest, I think.
Yeah.
I think he probably can. But I don't know for certain, whereas Archie probably knows that he's going to make. He knows for certain that he can reach ledge.
Yeah.
I have to stop. I'd have to think about it for a second, whereas he has a good idea. So he should let you know, get me ledge, and then you can be a lot less risky here. You just go up here and throw a needle at the Falco to slow him down. You don't need to try and win the situation. And here you're just trying to win too hard. Yeah.
That was unlucky.
Yeah, the F smash is a bit unlucky, but I also think you do push into the. Sorry, let's. I just don't think you do this in singles. I don't think you would double jump up here, throw out, push all the way in so that the Falco can bear you, and then you keep pushing in, and he bears you again.
Yeah, it was weird because okay, so in singles, what I would have done that is I would have drifted back to the ledge dashed and then like a invincible ledge dash nair or something.
Yeah.
And I would have chosen to do that. But it's like in this sport, I felt like Archie was on ledge. I'm like, okay, so it's my turn to like try and
I would
push this out the
say
corner.
I would say the opposite, to be honest here. I would say because Archie's at the one at high percent here, he's dead from any hit either way.
Yeah.
So he can probably in this situation I say he's probably the one that can take the risk of going in.
Yeah.
Because
That's fair.
if you lose a scenario, I know you get unluckily tippered here, but you still either way, even if you didn't die from that tipper, you'd still have eaten 30-40%
Right.
from just trying to push in. Whereas if Archie tries to push in and loses the situation, he takes one. He loses this. He's only 10%. He's one hit away from a stock either way, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you give up a lot more. Like you give up a lot more of your health bar, right?
Mhm.
And it is unlucky that you lose a whole stock, but yeah, just like something to consider. Like I think some people think, oh, this character's on high percent, so I should be the one going in, and it's like, well, that also means.
Yeah.
They don't stop being at high percent just because you're going in. The only time that's different is if it's last stock because you've got nothing else to give. But like, this is like a team. If you feed away all your stocks, that's exactly the same as if he feeds away all his stocks because this is a team life bar, right?
Yeah, got it.
So like
Okay.
one hit to him is, but he can just you get what I'm going at here. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it doesn't matter who's losing the stocks. Like if he loses one stock here. But that is just as bad as if you lose one stock. Don't pummel is like a general rule, I would say.
Yeah. So,
it's. I don't think it would change this. Would it change this interaction? So.
Not really, no.
No. Maybe you could have had a bit more. You could have maybe punished the Falco as he came in if you were available, but I don't think it would have changed that. But general rule, that was really good. Pretty good bit of play. Hit. Is this like you put? Do you input this back for by accident?
Let me double check. Yeah,
That's pretty instant.
That would be by accident.
Yeah.
I think that might be me.
Trying to buffer roll.
I think I was buffering roll. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say if that wasn't by accident, obviously you should be throwing to your teammate, but hard to react to. Again, I think they're just pushing in a bit too hard to this Marth. They've kind of got you sandwiched.
Yeah, like whilst in the first game we watched, I felt like I was being a little too passive. I think this game might have been a little too aggressive.
Yeah, I think that's because in the other game you know that you're not meant to be going in versus Spacies, whereas you feel like you can go in versus Marth because you're confident in that matchup. Yeah, this down is bad. You kind of just need to pick a side when you're stuck in the corner, just the two of you, or when you're stuck in the sandwich like this. You kind of need to pick someone and just like break into them. Yeah. So like instead of going one side each, you both, because what I would normally do is I would go for the Falco because Dormus is a weaker player than Abev. I would just both go for him and try and push through and push them to the corners, and then the Marth has to be the one chasing into you, right?
Right.
Whereas if you both go for individual people, the Marth does a dash back, the Falco, they win both these interactions, and you're back in the same place.
Yeah.
This is another. I'm not sure because just like if you're pressuring with Falco and Sheik, like you're probably gonna get through this Falco at this percent. This is a horrible situation to be in against Marth. Like this is exactly where they want to be, but I think just both going to separate sides doesn't really work out. Do you guys lose this game?
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing fine. I don't think there's much in these, to be honest.
It was the same theme as the last game where like we played well, but we just kind of were a little too loose with our leads.
Again, this is yeah, you win this 1v1 against the Falco. And
yeah, I should have left it after the Nair, right?
Yeah, when you see where this, because if he DIs in the Nair, you can follow up. But once you see this, there's not you have to make a guess, right? Whereas I would run over and help this Marth straight away. Like I just knock that Falco away and then go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because like you just guess, you very slightly guess wrong, and that's unlucky. But... yeah, that's nice stuff. He should be back throwing there 100%, because then you can F tilt.
Yeah. Okay.
I
didn't know that.
I get why he's F throwing. That's a normal thing to do, but yeah, just communicate about what you're going to do off grabs and trust each other off grabs. Especially with these two characters, especially a Sheik Falco, because you're not going to get much off your grabs unless you team combo. It's not like sometimes when you're teaming with a Fox, you can just fucking let them do their thing because it's Fox, or with Marth, you can just let them do their thing because they've got great punishes off grabs. Falco has bad punishes off grabs, and Sheik's grab stuff is a bit too slow for doubles. So just like, yeah, working out some grab combos is very important. Really good recovery. Yep. So yeah, all you need to do here is, yeah, this is very, you can't really push too far in here. I actually think you do the right thing by pushing in and just getting some needle damage.
Yeah.
Again, you both go at the same time. Shouldn't be doing that. But that's easy to fix. Here, I think you guys are. You guys feel like you're panicking now.
We crossed each other up a decent bit. So like.
Yeah.
So I should have let Archie hold the corner, but then like I thought, okay, I should go for a dash attack here because that's something I'll do in singles a lot. I'll see like a Nair or I'll see Muff Whiff and I'll go for like I'll do a fast dash attack, see if I can catch him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I might have expected the Marth to do like a drift back Nair, which is why I went for it, but it just wasn't worth the risk, I guess.
What I would say is when you shouldn't be doing this F tilt because you see the Falco jump up. With this jump, your teammate's signaling to you that they're going to do a move. It'd be very unusual for them to like. They could wave land behind you, I guess.
Yeah, but it's very.
I would probably just shield here and let the Falco do what they're going to do.
Okay.
You don't need to. Just sort of like you, because a Falco, any character jumping up like that is probably going to do an aerial as they come down. Especially in doubles. So yeah, just using shield aggressively. Let's pull out, but then I would probably switch to Marth. Oh my god, he gets the F smash out there. Great laser. I think this is just like what's happening is you're both trying to win it.
Yeah, we were both trying to make pretty.
You're both trying to be the one that gets the opening, either because you both feel like you have to, and I think one of you just needs to sit back and be a bit passive here. Because you're both just running in. Like I think it's really obvious. I think that's probably how you felt, and I think you're probably aware of that like straight away afterwards, right?
Yeah.
He's just, what's going on here? This is really weird because like I think the front half of this game was pretty good and it's just looking terrible now. You run in, Amordo laser in your back. Twice he lasers your back. It's just bad. Either he's going in or you're going in. You guys haven't made a decision here. Sorry if that's a bit harsh. I'm just disappointed after what this was looking pretty good doubles overall. Now it's looking terrible. It's like this has gotten really bad. Yeah, they do exactly what they should do. They both run away. You get why they do that, right?
Yeah, it's just not worth. I mean, they also don't want to be cornered when Archie's got invincibility.
Yeah, 100%. Right? It's difficult to get anything there, but so once Archie runs in invincibly, you should go up to here at least.
Okay.
You don't, because I know you don't want to get hit, but you've probably got 2 hits left in you. Maybe 3. If the Falco just back airs you 3 times, you'll die, but I think you could probably take 1 or 2. He's not just going to raw F smash you. So yeah, just be a bit closer, be ready to support.
Yeah.
This is better spacing. Then Archie, yeah, you just crossing up, crisscrossing.
Yeah, we got in the way of each other quite a bit.
Why does this happen? So you do a jab. He just shouldn't aerial that. I don't think. Yeah, good needles, but I think you're dead. Wanna get his kill, you should be able to make it back. Yeah, this is a tough 2Z situation. Yeah, that's kind of disappointing because most of that was pretty good, and then it kind of.
Yeah.
I think
something similar happened in my last game. I mean, it was a little back to the front. But I think in my last game we started it out with a bit of like bad aggression, and then we kind of got a little calmer. But like in both games, I think in my like last stock sort of situations, we kind of just both overextended.
Yeah,
it got us killed early.
I think like if you watch top doubles teams like last stock, like people are like, especially when I play doubles, like I'm very happy to just to camp on last stock and just let my teammate try and get an opening, because if they're the one that's meant to get an opening, just let them do it. Like, let them try, because just because it's last stock doesn't mean you're more likely to get in.
Yeah, it's like I have a singles habit of last stock where I'll just like be more aggressive anyway, like just I think, but that's just something I do.
Yeah, well, singles you can play last stock however you want, but in doubles, like I'd say, if you've got a teammate like Falco who's probably the one that's more likely to get an opening, just let them try and do it. Like, I think you're just both trying to get that opening, and it doesn't matter which one of you it is that is the one playing the front. I think personally it should be Falco there, because you're at high percent, and if you get knocked away, then the Falco can just get comboed, whereas if the Falco gets knocked away, he doesn't take as long to recover, and Sheik is better defensively, so it's less likely that you just get killed.
Yeah.
But yeah, just deciding who's going to be the one to go in and just like letting them take charge, because the real problem there is that you're just both trying to do the same thing, and even no matter how good whatever approach you do it, like you run in and do an F tilt when he's aerialing at you, and then you run in and he lasers the back of your shield twice. Is just like, hate to see it.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I know we haven't written too many notes here, but hopefully.
Yeah, I think there's a lot for me to like. I'll get from a rewatch of this and stuff. And
yeah, I don't want to info dump on you too much. I think we've gone over quite a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I'll be able to show Archie like at least the analysis bit of what we did here, and I think that will help as well. So.
Yeah, I didn't want to pick out. I didn't want to spend too much time just picking out things he does, because obviously I want you to be able to take it to any team, but also you being aware of the things that your teammates doing that are wrong will help you to understand. It helps you understand what you should be doing in those situations as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna end the recording there.